Okay, everybody, welcome to Weekly Shonen Jump 2025, issue number 43. Sakamoto Days takes the cover this week, and it's a very nice illustration. It looks fantastic. I really like the colors used on this one, and the shattering glass effect is really cool. Very, very nice one. Might be my favorite Sakamoto Days Jump cover that has been made thus far. Other than that, not much to talk about in the magazine as a whole. There was an announcement of a Sakamoto Days live action adaptation movie, so there's that. Will it be good? Who knows? Who could possibly say? But it does exist, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. Beyond that, yeah, pretty normal week of Jump. One Piece is off this week. Pretty much the only thing to note. So let's go ahead and check out the magazine.
Get this man a gun.
Sakamoto is chapter 230. Genius Sharpshooter. Starting off with a really nice color page this week. I love this one. I love all the ones that are just like the family hanging out with each other. It's very nice. So getting into the chapter itself, we're wrapping up Heisuke and now Kamihate's fight as well. At least I assume we're wrapping up. I guess there could be more to it, but it doesn't really feel like it to me. This feels pretty definitive, and what a way to end it. That was just so cool. It's some classic Sakamoto Days stuff. You know, this is the kind of things that you come to expect from this series. Just coolest set pieces in action you can see in pretty much any manga in the magazine right now. Maybe second to Kagurabachi, or at least tied with. But it is weird to think, you know, since this series is reaching its conclusion sooner rather than later, it's hard to accept kind of that these are probably the last real big moments to shine for all of these characters individually. But that's just the way these things work. Everything comes to an end at some point, and I think so far, Sakamoto Days is handling it with a lot of grace. Everybody's being given, you know, their time in the spotlight. And we still not be entirely done with them. I have to imagine that, you know, Heisuke and maybe even Kamihate will come to assist in the final, like, real battle. But this also could be it. Who really knows? Either way, if this is it for, like, Heisuke's moments, I'm fine with it. I think this was a great way to cap off the character. Do I want more? Yeah, but do I need more? Not necessarily. I think this could be a good stopping point. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. I personally do still think we're going to get a little more with all of these characters that are having their one-on-one fights, including Nagumo, by the way, which we still haven't gone back to. Oh my god. I just... When are we seeing Nagumo again? I can't wait anymore. But I also still want to get back to Lou, which I'm assuming we'll go back to next chapter, but who knows? We got a lot of things going on in a lot of different directions, so there's a lot of places that this series could, you know, jet off to at any given chapter. And all of them I'm very interested in, so no matter what happens, I am locked in. Witchwatch Chapter 218, Cat and Wolf's Fugue. Fantastic chapter here. I love all the Keigo and Nemu chapters a lot. It's just a subplot that really moves, and it feels like there's progress being made every time it's revisited, and I really appreciate that about this series because you know, sometimes it can feel like the main, you know, love plot between Nico and Morihito doesn't really move all that much. It's kind of stagnant, and it's also, it loops, you know, it's just like it's an Ouroboros. It's just constantly doing the same thing over and over. But here, I actually feel like every time this subplot is revisited, there's some step being made to get to the end goal. This time, a very big step was taken. I mean, we have an indirect confession, so will that lead to a confession at the same time, like a real confession at the same time as, you know, the proper Nico Morihito thing? Like, are we gonna get like a whole, you know, both couples finally become a thing at the same time sort of deal? Kind of feels like it to me. It definitely, I mean, they're alluding to it here too. We're gonna get another action-focused thing after Nico's back. I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of fight. And, you know, action-focused Witchwatch stuff is not my favorite thing in the world by any means. I don't really care for it all that much. But if this finally leads to the things we've been wanting to see for the whole series happening, so be it. Let's get through it. Let's do it. I did enjoy the setup of the last confession, at least in the action-focused arc, not the confession from like right before she left. The one before that, it's Witch Watch. There's like 100 confessions. Yeah, I did like the build up to that one, the action-focused one. So this might end up being really nice once we get to it, but I think there's still a good ways to go. Yeah, isolated, very, very good chapter. I love stuff like this a lot. Ichi the Witch, Chapter 51, To a New Time. So admittedly not a whole lot to say about this chapter for once. Yeah, usually I'm kind of a yapper about Ichi the Witch because I love it so much. But this is really just a like purely transitional chapter. We are just moving from one section of the story to a new one. This time being what I'm assuming to be like a proper new arc. Just has that weight to it. We do have Jikishiron, or Jikishirone, I still have no idea how to say that, joining the group this time, which is exciting. I think that'll be a cool way to mix things up. And she's just an interesting character. She obviously has a lot of knowledge that other people do not have, and perhaps ulterior motives to work with in her own mind. So I think it'll be a neat addition to the crew for this little arc here. Beyond that, though, not a whole lot. We got some teasing with a broom. I assume Ichi will get that broom at some point, which is interesting. Yeah, we're going to a ghost ship, so that'll be fun. I'm reminded of Wind Waker immediately, which, I mean, I know there's ghost ships in a lot of things, but just, I don't know, something about this one specifically reminds me of Wind Waker, which is fitting because I used the Zelda sound effect for this series. Someone Hertz, Chapter 2, You Are Funny. We have our first usage of Twitter being called X in a manga. I can't say I'm a big fan of that, but it happened. Alright, so I want to get real about this series. Last week, I had pretty much nothing but good to say about it. It's really cute and charming, and that remains true. But we gotta talk about the language barrier here and the cultural barrier that is becoming even more apparent. It was already apparent last time, but I gave it the benefit of the doubt because, honestly, I got through it just fine. I didn't really think much of it. Here, already, I'm starting to feel like I'm not going to be able to enjoy this series properly because the jokes aren't really jokes like to English speakers. They're just like, how do you even explain this? It's like, I mean, they are Japanese jokes translated to English, obviously. But that doesn't work because it's not Japanese. These are jokes that probably only really work in the native tongue. And we're getting like a half-assed, I won't say half-assed, I'm sure a lot of work went into this translation, but a, localized, doing the best they possibly can, amalgamation of a joke. It's not really a joke. It's a interpretation of a joke. And I don't think it could possibly ever be funny. Nothing that was said in last chapter or this chapter made me even like smile. It's like, okay, that's going too far. I guess like a little grin, like just like thinking, oh, that's cute, But nothing that'll make me laugh my ass off. And that's not really the point of these jokes either. Like you don't see the characters laughing their asses off about it either. They just kind of like chuckle. There's like one-liners basically and like puns. But when you have a goal of becoming funnier than this person, the eel potato, I don't think we'll be able to really see the progress because everything is going to sound equally funny to us. And now there's also a thing where I wonder if in Japan these jokes are even that funny because, I mean, this just could be an author that like thinks they're hilarious, but they're actually just not that funny and they're just kind of throwing shit out there. I don't know. I haven't seen Japanese takes on this manga yet. At least for me, I just feel like long term, this series isn't gonna be able to work, and that's sad. I'm getting by. Like I like looking at it, and I like the characters. They're cute and charming. But in terms of like getting invested and like really into the story and what they're doing, it's going to be really hard. And I guess it's just a matter of person to person if you want to put in the effort to understand. You know, something similar to this, I guess you could say, is Akane-banashi, which on paper sounds like it has a really high entry barrier because it's about Rakugo, which is something, before that manga came out, I don't think anybody here, any English speakers really knew what Rakugo was, to be honest. It's translated so well. I mean, Stephen Paul is probably the best translator on, you know, Viz's freelance lineup. He's incredible. And no offense to David Evelyn either, I'm sure he's great. That's not a name that immediately, you know, rings in my head as one of Viz's translators. I'm sure he's done other things though, but I do wonder if Stephen Paul had translated this, it would have been better. But he has a lot on his plate right now and a lot of very complicated things to translate. Akane-banashi and Shoha Shoten are both incredibly complicated series to translate, and not to mention One Piece is also something that Stephen Paul does. So I'm sure, you know, they probably would have gotten him on this if they could, but he's too busy with other things. So what we're left with is a series that I think is really cute and sweet, and I'm obviously gonna keep reading. I read everything. But I feel and I fear that a lot of people are just gonna fall off of this series, at least here. So this is gonna be a case where this series' success rides entirely on the Japanese market because it's made for them. We are trying our best to enjoy it, as the best way I can think to describe this phenomenon here. But so far, it's cute. I like it. I want to stick with it. Just, I worry about the long term. Kagurabachi Chapter 94, The Second Arrow. It's a cool chapter. Not my favorite. It's I'm not really a big fan. And this is gonna maybe sound like a huge like meathead, but I don't really care for when Kagurabachi gets into the weeds on like its power system and things like that. I just don't really care for some reason, and that's unusual for me because I usually do get invested into power systems. Hunter x Hunter being the best example of this. I love Nen dearly, but for some reason my eyes just glaze over with Kagurabachi's. I don't really need to know how it works. I kind of just want to look at the pretty pictures and trust that the author knows how this works. That's not to say I don't read it. I mean, I did read it. I don't really care about what I read, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like once we got into just the action and fighting, I thought it was really cool looking. Beyond that, I just not a whole lot for me to sink my teeth into on this one, unfortunately. Just, you know, it's an average Kagurabachi chapter, I would say. Nothing bad, nothing amazing, just right there in the middle. Sorry if that's like blasphemy. I know sometimes I have some wild Kagurabachi takes, and I never can tell when it's going to be one until I read the comments, because I don't really read thoughts and opinions online other than in my own comments. So I could be a contrarian or a speaker of the people. I have no idea. Blue Box Chapter 212, A New Challenge to Face. Alright, so we're getting more into the weeds on this, who we now know as Iozaki, Chinatsu's next door neighbor, who I think many of us feared and jumped to the conclusion too quickly about his role in the story. It was kind of looking like, it was probably intentionally red herring to be honest, unless it still goes this direction. I guess we're not in the clear yet, but kind of looking like this would be like a weird, like romantic rival for Taiki. But instead, I actually think this is going in the direction of him being a mentor or something similar to Taiki. And I think Chinatsu is going to get that into motion. And that sounds cool. I think that's a good kind of character to introduce at this stage of the series. It does lead me to believe that the series will be lasting, you know, a fair amount longer. I still think it's going to end next year. There's almost no doubt in my mind. But this does kind of extend its lifespan a little bit more, in my mind at least. Because it's feeling like we are going to kind of get like this entire last school year for Taiki. And that could end up being a fair number of chapters, so we'll see. So far so good. I'm liking it. We're still doing some weird Hina stuff, that the tease at the end there, which I don't really know how to interpret yet. I don't know where we're going with Hina. It's so confusing to me, but we shall see. Good chapter. Reassured me of the future, as it's been doing lately, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Shinobi Undercover, Chapter 50, Mimizuku's Roost. Really cool chapter. It's nice to get to know something about Mimizuku here, a character we didn't really explore at all thus far. I think this is pretty needed, honestly. It feels like a natural inclusion to the story. Like, this is something that should be happening around this point. Maybe it should have happened earlier. The line, "Every day is a battle when dealing with a picky eater," is something I keep thinking about. I like that line a lot. Yeah, just it's a very endearing chapter to Mimizuku here. It made me really like him a lot more. Not that I didn't like him before, I thought he was a fine enough character, but this is finally giving us something to like properly latch onto with him. I think that's important to a series like this. You want to have a reason to care about every character you're seeing frequently. And this is finally that for Mimizuku. Cool stuff. I hope he continues to have a bigger role in the future. I feel like he will. He's kind of becoming like a Kakashi or like a Gojo. Not really like Gojo all that much, but you know, that kind of mentor, like stronger figure who comes in and saves the day on occasion. So yeah, not as strong as recent chapters like the last, I don't know, 3 or 4, but still a good chapter, solid, and a necessary addition to the story, I think. Akane-banashi Chapter 175, Can You Reach? Amazing. I like actually clapped while reading this. I was so impressed by the writing talent here. So this whole time, we've had this goal. Akane has had this goal set by Isho. Win without making the audience laugh. Both us and her this whole time, and people around her in the series are like, what the hell is that? Like, can this really happen? Is this really necessary? Is it really worth it? Until finally it clicks to her and to us because of her. I don't think I didn't see anybody like guess this in advance. I certainly didn't. But it's not literally don't make them laugh. It's don't make them laugh. Don't like force it. Don't change anything. Don't alter anything to try to get a laugh out of them. Just do it raw. Do the story. It's a classic. People have enjoyed it for like centuries. Just do it. It's popular. It's iconic for a reason. So just do it. Let your raw talent and the quality of the story guide you to your success. And that's just so fucking cool, man. I just I never thought of it that way. I thought like, because you know, Isho's this character we're not supposed to like. We do not like this guy. We don't really like. Why should we respect this lesson he's trying to teach? So of course we're scoffing. We're like, this fucking dumbass wants her to win without making people laugh. That's the whole point of Rakugo. What a dumbass. But no, he is a very talented Rakugoka, and I think it's easy to forget that because of just how much we hate this guy. This is a lesson with purpose, and to see it all come to a head here and see Akane so far performing it so well and learning the lesson as she's performing, really, it's so good. These are playing into Akane-banashi's biggest strengths, and I love it. For that reason, this is an amazing chapter. I cannot wait to see the rest of this performance and the results that follow. I love this. Absolutely love it. Well done. Bravo. Good ass shit. Hell yeah. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, Chapter 61, Exorcist Reunion. Drop everything, sound the alarm, fuck the rest of the chapter. Tosaka is back. Let's go. I'm so excited. So Tosaka, you would not know because I have never talked about Tosaka on the channel because that was long before I started these videos. But Tosaka is my favorite character in the series. I love him dearly. I was so endeared to him, and Cook the chicken, of course, that I have spent every chapter awaiting his return. And now he's here. He's got a prominent role where we're going forward with him. He's in the crew for this this new little mission here, and I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to have him back in the story. What a perfect lineup to go into this new arc with. I just keep saying it, but I'm so excited. I love this. I am so happy to have Tosaka back. And this arc that's coming up now is sounding really fun. This is gonna be sick. God, I can't wait. This is great stuff. I'm fully on board, locked in 100% to the series. I was before too, but like now that Tosaka's back on the page, baby, you know I'm locked in. Holy shit, I love this. This is a great week so far, man. I'm pumped. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, Chapter 3, Swimming Through the Forest. Really cool chapter. I like this a lot. Just kind of reeling back from all the world building and stuff of the previous chapters and honing in on the characters, specifically Maru and Tsurugi, but also just, the human aspect of the series in general. Because, as before last week, I was talking about how the series is having a larger focus on world building and the world itself. But to hone in, just get more of the human side of it is really nice. It's, another reminder that this is definitely still JJK. It has that same vibe, same tone, same feel. And yeah, I really love it. I think it does such a good job at what it's trying to accomplish here. I really have no notes. I think this is just a very, very well-made manga. I find myself just being so mesmerized by like everything I'm seeing on the page, like the cool shark double page spread, and then just little moments between the characters and the sweet thing with this tiger and this older guy. It's all just really well done, and it's hard to find any flaws or anything to even talk about really, because it's just so damn solid. I have a lot of admiration for this so far. Yeah, great stuff. Hima-Ten Chapter 59, Heartwarming Memories. Okay, so look, cute chapter, Honoka stuff was great, but I'm so sick of this whole thing where it feels like the entire world is revolving around Hime no No. Like, everything requires her input. They're all coming to her. Like, Honoka's like her mentor, there's rivalry, and everybody has a different dynamic with her. And I don't want it. I just don't want her in the story. I'm sorry. I think she adds nothing. I don't like her role in it. I really just... What is this? What are we doing here? I'm so frustrated. Literally, this chapter is book ended and book opened with her. Get out of here. What do you have to do with anything? This should just be a cute chapter with Honoka and Ieimori. And that should be it. But no, we have her looming over everything. Like she's this omnipresent being who just knows everything and has to give her input onto every situation. I don't care. What is this? What is this? That's what I keep finding myself asking. Why is she here? Anybody got anything? I don't get it. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Feel the power of my magic!
Elusive Samurai Chapter 219, Tomoe 1352. Pretty good. I did like the Ayako stuff quite a bit. That's she's one of my favorites of like the main group. So just cool to see her get her moments and her internalizing that this is probably her last battle, as a warrior. Neat. And then the Takauji stuff is interesting. I didn't think we'd be progressing this quickly. Like he's already kind of looking crazy. I don't like this design. I can't lie. I think this is the worst he's ever looked. But whatever. I don't know. This pacing is different than I expected. I thought we'd have like a whole drawn out battle, like getting to him, but kind of here already. It feels like. Are we just gonna like zoom through this? Is this series gonna end this year? It might. It really might. But it's not like I think that it's going to be like a necessarily, Takauji and Tokiyuki one-on-one to end it off. I think it's going to be like a kind of maybe, like a multiple people versus him, maybe even like a whole army versus him. I don't know. It's hard to tell what this series ever wants to do with itself. So, I don't know. But I'm on board. Just not what I expected, I guess, is really all I can say about that. Outro of the Flame, Chapter 19, Destined Partner. Chapter 19. This is where most of us thought this series was just going to end. But here we are. It's a lot higher on the TOC, and it is certainly not ending. So what's happening? I don't know. I think Shueisha is just really wanting this series to do well. It's this is a good artist. I've talked about this 1,000 times. Very good artist, very talented, just needs to hone their skills. And we're kind of seeing that happen in real time. The chapters are getting better. The paneling is getting better. Art has stayed the same, but art was never the problem. I see clear improvements happening, and I like to think Shueisha sees it too. So they're, despite, anything before, like if this, I don't really know, is the first volume out? I think so. I don't know if we have sales yet though. Even if it didn't sell that well, I think it expects it to in the future as this continues to do well. Either that, or it's just kind of letting it live through another axe wave and get axed later on when another axe wave hits. I don't know. We'll see. Because, look, Shueisha's letting it stay beyond the normal axe wave length. Does that mean I suddenly love it? No. I think it's still flawed, but it is at least nice to look at. I enjoy my time with it. But I can't say I'm like, hell yeah, Oda, let's go, because I'm not like super rooting for it. I'm more so rooting for the mangaka, but I don't know if this is what they should be doing, if that makes any sense. It's tough. I need to keep hearing this series out. This is such a talented artist, and they're very creative, but I don't know if this is the series that's going to let them use their creative talents to their best extent. Red Hood seemed much more like something that they wanted to make. This feels more like appealing to execs. Now, that might be a very cynical view on my part, and I apologize for that. I try not to be like that, but it really just doesn't feel like something they want to make. And that's just completely baseless. Obviously, I don't know the person. I don't even know their gender. I have no idea. I think it's a guy. I'm not sure. I didn't look. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Wishing all the best, but I just want mangaka to be able to make what they want to make without too much editor and higher up execs at Shueisha interfering. And I just feel like there's some fingers being put in here that shouldn't be. Just a total gut feeling. That's just kind of where my head's at. And that's the whole point of this show. I'm giving you a isolated, week by week look inside my head when it comes to this magazine. So that's where I'm at right now. Let's see how it goes in the future, though. We got presumably at least the rest of the year to to chew on this series. Maybe longer. Who knows? It's totally up in the air right now, and I cannot call it either way. Chapter itself, by the way, it was decent. It was okay. I liked it well enough. It looked nice. Better attempts at paneling, yada yada. Same stuff every week, pretty much. In Roboco Chapter 250, Classic Lines and Roboco. You may notice I'm holding the final volume here of Dragon Ball. It's the Omnibus 3-in-1. It's the only edition I have, because I've talked about it before, but it's the only edition that has Dragon Ball the whole way through on the cover, and it's fine. That's why I got it. Paper quality sucks. Anyways, whatever. Chapter itself, whatever, I don't care. It was not very good. But what this made me do is grab my volume of Dragon Ball and look, because there's this moment where she's talking about classic lines, and she goes to this line from Vegeta, a very iconic line, but it's translated in a way I've never seen before. It says, "Good luck, Kakarot, you are the champion." And now Viz is a very consistent company. If they have a set translation for something, they use it through everything. Look at Zolo in One Piece. We still use Zolo, guys. And so I immediately was like, I knew what line they were talking about, obviously. Typically, the way I've heard this line forever, and the iconic version of it, is, "Hang in there, Kakarot, you are number one." But here, it's, "Good luck, Kakarot, you are the champion." So I'm like, is that the translation Viz went with in the manga translation? You can't see this for shit, I'm sure, but yep. "Good luck, Kakarot, you are the champion." That's what they said. That's what they made Vegeta say. That sucks. The original line is iconic. What is that? Why? How did I not know this? I guess I just, it's one of those things where it just gets overwritten in your mind. Like, even whenever I read this translation, I probably just like glazed over and read it as the thing I know it as, because in every other translation it is that. The video games, the anime, I think both dubs, all three dubs really, including Kai, I'm pretty sure they all say "you are number one." Nobody says "you are the champion." I don't know. It's really bothering me. Sorry I hijacked Roboco's segment with Dragon Ball, but That sent me on a spiral. Awful translation. They need to this is further proof, guys. Listen, join me in this movement. Dragon Ball needs a retranslation, re-release. Do a deluxe edition. Come on, give me Vinland Saga style volumes of Dragon Ball, please, God, please.
That's a baseball!
Harukaze Mound Chapter 14, Dark Guy. Really good title. Look at this panel. Or look at this spread. That is sick. That's awesome. This series is winning me over more and more every week. I've talked in the past about practice games, how not crazy about them. I wish they were more spaced out at least, but whatever. Got 2 in a row, fine. It's doing a good job though. We're learning more and more about all the team members, their gimmicks, what makes them tick, and that's important before we get into a real game, is to get the basic setup. But I do also think that a lot of this stuff can be done in a first game. But regardless, it doesn't matter. We're here. We're doing another practice game. It's happening. And I again, so far, I think it's doing a really good job at making me care about it. Not exactly the game or the results, but the people playing it. And that's really what's important. So kudos to that. This was a really cool chapter with a really good through line. I enjoyed my time with it, and I think it gave me a lot of confidence in this series, which I already had, but it's just building upon that already established confidence. Good stuff.
What are you doing, step bro?
New is Exorcist Chapter 115, An Outrageous Man. So, of course, as I already expressed last week, I'm not into this new development, and we are continuing with that new development here in the typical New Age Exorcist way. Look, there it is. Wow, he walked in on another girl changing. How many times has that happened? Who cares at this point? It's got to become numb to you at some point, after having seen it like 45 times in the last week. I don't know, man. I can at least respect sometimes when the series like leans into the absurdity, like the fact that he's just like, yeah, marriage and all that, but 3 women already confessed their love to me, so like, but I was gonna turn them all down anyway because they're like too good for me. Like, it's like kind of funny in a way, but I don't know if it's trying to be. So I don't know. And then we get serious-ish at the end, and it's just, whatever. I don't know. It's New Age Exorcist. This is if I were to tell somebody to just like read a chapter of the series to understand what it is, I honestly might just give them this one. It has everything. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry. Just not into it.
And it's mommy makeout day.
Kaedegami Chapter 13, Irredeemable Idiot. Okay, this is hooking me more. Last week I talked about how I thought this was moving really fast, and I had wished this would expand itself into an arc, because we haven't really done that yet in the series. That might be happening. It does it's taking its time more. I felt last week moved really fast, but we didn't really have the full scope of what was happening here yet. Now we have the full picture, and I can feel it, expanding. I think our scope is getting bigger, and we are going to have, I don't know, maybe not a super long like arc here, but this is probably going to be at least, maybe a volume's worth of content here. Really like the development we're getting for the characters here, and just the plot in general is moving in a neat direction that I wasn't really expecting. It's kind of hard for me to find the right words to say about this chapter, but at its core, I liked it. I think I'll have more to say as we start to unfold what the plot of this is going to be. Yeah, so far so good. I'm liking this a lot, and I think it's really cool. And it's definitely something that the series needed. For me personally, at least. I can't speak for everybody. Ping-Pong Peril Chapter 11, Date in Shibuya. Cute chapter. I mean, I liked that we're kind of, at least half of it is something that's not ping-pong related. But at the end of the day, I'm just here to read ping-pong, to be honest. I do think the characters are nice and sweet, though. So, elephant in the room. Is this series actually getting axed? I kind of was last week I was like, I don't know. I feeling a little axy, but I don't think so. However, now we have a bet of 986 million yen, which, as it is stated, is it'll repay most of his debt if he wins this match. So, is this an out? Is this something the author has inserted to make an escape route for when it gets axed so it can just end? It's entirely possible this series might be getting axed, but I'm still going to enjoy it for what it is, even if it is getting axed. I'll try to view it as if it's not, but this does feel very, very axy now. But hey, I've been wrong before. Look at Odor of the Flame. I was just wrong about that, so we'll see. But the premise of this ping-pong match here in Shibuya Square sounds awesome. I'm really excited to see how this goes. It's another one of those really cool, inventive ones that I read the series for. The last match didn't really do a whole lot for me in that department, but this one sounds very promising. I'm excited.
Bruh.
Ekiden Bros, Chapter 12, The Glass Prodigy. Look, guys, I dunk on this series every week, I know, and I'm going to do it again. I've been complaining a lot about this series and how it draws running. The whole premise of the series is about running, and it is drawn so damn boring. Like, it's just boring to look at. There's nothing exciting happening on screen. So now, look at its latest attempt to make running look exciting. I'm actually laughing my ass off. Not right now. Internally, actually. Whoa, no way. He blew the petals right off those flowers. Okay. What the fuck? I don't give a shit. Who cares? That's not exciting. That doesn't make me be like, what? What? No way. Holy shit. Who's having this reaction to this? Is anybody opening this magazine this week? Any Japanese citizen? Pick up this magazine, flip to the back of the magazine for this series. They get to this page and they're like, holy shit. I don't think so. I really don't think so. This manga is a failure on all levels. What could have been, guys? What could have been? Imagine if we had a good cross-country track running manga running in Shonen Jump. Imagine the world we'd live in. Damn shame. Do better. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for Weekly Shonen Jump 2025, issue 43. This was a very good issue, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it the whole way through. You know, obviously there's some stinkers in there and some mediocrity, but for the most part, fantastic week. I thought everything was really, really solid. But one thing reigned over all others. That is this week's Chapter of the Week, Akane-banashi Chapter 175, Can You Reach? This chapter blew my mind. It was probably obvious from the way I was talking about it earlier, just how much I loved it and how it was probably pretty obviously going to be the chapter of the week. Fantastic. Really nothing to complain about. Nothing at all. It was perfect. Perfect chapter. Absolutely perfect chapter. No notes. Flawless. I love that reveal and the twist of what Isho's goal in this lesson actually was, and the performance itself is starting off really well. And that's, dude, great sign when the first chapter of a performance gets chapter of the week. Let's see how the rest of this goes. We might be getting Akane sweeps coming up. All right, next week we got issue 44. We got One Piece on the cover for its return after the break week. Excited to see what we got there. Obviously, I mean, God Valley's kicking off full force, so every week of One Piece is going to be exciting for a while, I think. Thank you as always for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your chapter of the week, worst chapter of the week, anything you want. Give me all your thoughts on every series. Some of you do that, and I love reading them every time. Love to keep seeing thoughts and discussions on this magazine that I love very dearly, obviously. Remember, I've also launched channel memberships, so you can join at 2 tiers. One gets your name in the credits, being the Nice Prisoner tier, and the Super Nice Prisoner tier get their name read right now. So, of course, special thank you to all of my Super Nice Prisoners, Braden Farrell, Milu Kitty, DJ Tengen, and Hexnenzigen. I'll get better at it every week. Alright, that's all I got for this week. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you whatever you decide to watch next. Take it easy, guys.